Porter, our President-elect.
Thanks very much, Bill. I want to apologise firstly for being a bit later than I wanted to. I got held up on my way. You know, clearly over the course of this conference, I actually want to say that I actually think it's humbling and actually the right principled thing to do, that my first opportunity to speak since getting elected is on this panel and in this fringe. And the reason I say that, unless you've been walking around with your eyes shut, I don't think Bella and I have agreed on anything at this conference, apart from one fundamental thing that we need to make sure we are absolutely united about. And I'll give you, and I promise you now, on day one, a no-holds-barred guarantee that I want to be shoulder to shoulder with the Black Students Campaign, with the LGBT campaign, and with anyone else that seeks to try and challenge those that want to see us overturn our no-platform policy in NUS. It's perhaps the best but most important thing that we've done to safeguard students in further and higher education that we've ever sought to achieve. And you know more than anyone else that there are increasing calls for that to be jeopardised, and people are using manipulative tactics to try and undermine no-platform policies either in NUS or in students' unions. And I think we need to think about, and I want to say this as the president, that perhaps you won't have heard me speaking about this before. I think it's really important that in the first few days or in the first few weeks, I sit around the table with you guys and think about how we can best make the case for this to be put forward in students' unions. Because we need to think about the relationship between NUS and students' unions, but we need to be absolutely adamant that no platform is the right thing for students' unions, and how we can best put forward that case. And in NUS, we need to make sure that we're absolutely safeguarding it. And this is of such importance, not just because of the challenges that we're getting in students' unions, but there's another thing for me that's on the horizon, and that is the general election in 3 weeks. And I'm not going to do a party political broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party, but I will say this: of course, their track record on equality has been infinitely better than the Tory government that preceded it. And I'm not saying that they've been good enough on every single issue. We do face the real prospect of a Tory government in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And whilst they might be a little bit more clever about how they put forward their issues these days, I've had no sense of the fact that the core of the party is exactly the same as it was in 1995 and 96 and in 1997. And I imagine that they will try and scratch away at equalities legislation and indeed some of the fundamental principles that we here stand for. And that will take place in, yes, the political arena, but that will start to, I think, spread out into wider society. And I think we need to think about how we best combat that. And that's where the student movement has often been at its most effective, because it has been a force for good, progressively putting the case for equality and ensuring that we can stand up for what we believe in. I'm just going to stop there, and I'm happy to take questions if there's time. So thanks very much.